to go back to the meet and greet, right? Yes? I'm also happy to not eat the bread flavored styrofoam. Very loosely based, bread flavor. It's actually probably just styrofoam, honestly. Yeah. But it gets the job done, and that's the important thing. So, a couple of things to clarify about my life in this past week. If any of you saw a red Mustang sitting at the post office roughly Thursday, I don't know who owns that. That's not mine, because mine's at a shop down in Rolla. Again, I'm starting to think I should probably invest in a for sale sign. Follow along with John's advice and just saying, take as is. At this point, I might even just give it away. Who knows? Because it's not been great. But, so that happened. And I did mow yesterday on a zero-turn, thing, lawnmower. In Houston, we didn't have big enough yards in the suburbs to need one of those, so I had a push mower. For the record, I have mowed before. I'm not completely, incapable. I've done it before. Mainly because my dad was the kind of person who wouldn't pay anybody to do anything if it could get done by himself or by me. And so once I started getting older, it became more by me. So I have mowed before, but for the record, wrong picture. I was thinking it was going to be the picture of me up on the lawnmower. Which, do we have that? Can we still get that? Is that possible?
Yep. Just a second.
All right.
So why you're angry on the lawnmower?
What? I take a lot of pride in that picture, honestly. Wherever it is, it's not up there yet, but I really look the part, right? Like, there I am. Look at that. Look at that. I look the part up there.
Look at that. You got a hat on.
I got the fun fact about that hat. That hat says Carhartt, which I don't own one, but the hat alone was too expensive. I said, there's no way I'm buying a jacket. But yeah, I got some Timberland boots on. And those are the name brand too. So if you're one of those name brand people, those are the real deal. I didn't pay full price. Heck no, no way. Got those at one of those, not quite a thrift shop, but one of those places where they take donations and then sell it for way cheaper. So that's where I got those, because I didn't buy a Carhartt jacket, so I definitely didn't buy no Timberland boots for full price. But yeah, look at that. I'm looking the part. So this is actually my introduction to the sermon. It works really well because today we are going to look at what happens to those who lie to Christians, which Clay did. So I was told, this is going to really. I was told it was going to kind of improve my dating profile, which it did not.
You got to give it more time than a day.
That's not what you said. You did not tell me one day. You did not tell me more time. You said.
Is that really a lie? Come on.
So far, and we're about to know what happens to you. And for the record, it is glorious. It's good stuff. So welcome back to You've Got Mail. We are going to be looking at the second to last letter of the series. We're going to be in Revelation chapter 3, starting in verse 7. And I want to kind of expose what's kind of going on. So here we are going to see the letter that Jesus gives to the church of Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia has gone through a lot of the same struggles that a lot of these other churches have gone through. Some of the different persecution and some of the lies that are being told about them and to them. To them, Clay. Lies to the Christians and to the Christians. This is about you. We're going to learn about you. So, this is one of those letters, one of the only two that exists in Revelation where there is nothing negative that Jesus has to say to the church of Philadelphia. Jesus has nothing but praise to give to this church, and he's going to emphasize some of their weakness and some of how Jesus is going to elevate them in the final days. So, starting in verse 7, it says this: "Write to the angel of the church of Philadelphia, that thus says the Holy One, the true One, the one who has the key of David, who opens and no one will close, and who closes and no one opens. I know your works. Look, I have placed before you an open door that no one can close, because you have but little power. Yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name." So right here, we have Jesus explain that he is the one who holds the key of David. Now, this key of David is it's a symbol from the Old Testament. It was a way of signifying the kingship. Right, so only the king had access to this key. It was an authoritative symbol. Now, this key could often be kind of loaned to other people as a way of showing authority given to these other people, but it was only given by the king. And so Jesus is here saying, look, I have the authority. I hold the key of David. And we also see that Jesus has the authority to open doors that no one can close, and close doors that no one can open. Now, I want to clarify what this is. I see this all the time out of context. I would love to do a series, maybe we'll get to it at some point, of verses that people just kind of take out of context, where basically they say it means something that it really doesn't. This is one of those very popular verses, right? So Jesus opens doors that no one can close. And oftentimes what that is seen is as these doors often of opportunity. Right? People look at these doors as, God's going to kind of bless your life. He's going to open a door to this new job. He's going to open a door to this healing. He's going to open these doors, and no one can close them. That's not the point. The point of this passage is not about opportunities in this earthly life. This door refers to salvation. So what Jesus is saying here is that I am opening a door to salvation for you that no one can close. No one has power, no one has the authority to close this door. If I have opened it for you, it is open for you. And then the flip side, if I have closed this door, no one can open it. So it basically, if you accept me and if you follow in my footsteps, if you obey my commands, no one can close this door to you. But if you choose not to follow, no one can open it. The door remains closed. Verse 9, this is Clay's verse. Note this: I will make those from the synagogue of Satan who claim to be Jews and are not, but are lying. Emphasis on the lying, not the synagogue of Satan. To be fair, I have already compared my mom to the world, so I guess it wouldn't be that much of a stretch for me to compare, Clay, but not the point. And here's the glorious moment. I will make them come and bow down at your feet, and they will know that I have loved you. That's right, Clay. Just remember. The more you seek to humiliate, the more the Word of God flies.
Got you, Clay. He's a crybaby.
Verse 10, because you have kept my command to endure, I will also keep you from the from the hour of testing that is going to come on the whole world to test those who live on the earth. I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have, so that no one takes your crown. Now, we have a lot to unpack in this little stanza. So, we have the synagogue of Satan, those from the synagogue of Satan. That's been brought up in a past letter as well. The ones who claim to be Jews but are not, that is a very difficult subject to kind of get into. Some people think that they are people who are Jews but don't follow the Messiah, so they're not true Jews. There's a lot there, but the issue there is that these people are lying, and they are basically telling these Christians that they don't have the salvation that they ought to have. That they are following the wrong God, that they are idol worshippers, that they are of a false religion. And so Jesus clarifies that these people who are lying about you, these people who are lying to you, they will fall at your feet, and they will understand that I have loved you. This is a moment to emphasize the Christians that are at Philadelphia. That those who lie, those who put you down, they will realize the love that I have for you. Then we have the hour of testing. This is another one of those things that is difficult to unpack, and many different people have a lot of different ideas about what this is. Some of the more prevalent ones are that this is a reference to the tribulation that's going to come. Right, so kind of this tribulation, rapture kind of idea that basically trials are going to come on the whole world, and Jesus is going to save and keep his church from these tribulations. Now, some will claim that this is removing them from this tribulation. I don't necessarily ascribe to that. I have kind of explained in the past why I don't, but very briefly for those of you who might not remember or might not have been here for that understanding. So, all throughout history, throughout the entire church era, the church has never been able to be exempt from difficulty. Right? Oftentimes, we think of the persecution that has gone on throughout the Roman Empire, throughout history as we know it, that the church is consistently being persecuted throughout history. These trials, these tribulations that have come, the church has persevered, but has not been taken away from. And so, my interpretation as I read this, and again, this is my interpretation, my opinion, that as this hour of these trials come, this hour of testing as it comes, the church will persevere through that testing. I hesitate to say that the church gets off scot-free from a lot of issues that come into the world. And so, the promise to the Christians given at Philadelphia is the promise given to Christians today that if we continue to endure in the faith, that when the hour of trial comes, we will persevere as a church together. It says, I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one takes your crown. Now, that's interesting, right? Because if Jesus opens doors that no one can close, how can someone take crowns that Jesus has given? The issue that we see here is that this crown is affiliated with those who endure. I'm not one of those people who believes that once you are saved, you are just kind of always saved. Once you have faith, you're never going to lose your faith, and that if you do lose your faith, then you never really had true faith. I don't hold to that. I believe that salvation is eternal, and that when you die, if you are saved, you are now eternally saved because you died. But while we live on earth, we have the free will to make decisions. We have the free will to follow Jesus, and the free will to walk away and say that this isn't worth it. I've seen many people in my life do it. And so for me to say that those people did not have genuine faith is just, it doesn't make sense, because I've seen the faith that they did have and the faith that they now no longer have. And so it is on us to endure and to persevere and to make it through the testing that comes in our life so that we can hold on to our crown and so that we can participate in the salvation and the kingdom of God. Now, verse 12 says this: "The one who conquers, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will never go out again. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my God, and my new name. Let anyone who has ears to hear listen to what the Spirit says to the churches." So here we have this symbol of pillars and temples. The illustration here is kind of twofold in the symbolism and what it means and represents. So for one, pillars, what do we know pillars to do? They support buildings, correct? Like, I didn't go to Missouri S&T. I didn't study engineering, but I'm guessing that if you have a pillar, it's probably holding something up. They're typically not there just for the heck of it. Am I right, Clay? I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you. I have, the pillars of the church, right? So we are all aware that pillars hold things up. And so what Jesus is kind of saying here in one part is that these pillars, we will become these pillars, and these pillars will be able to hold up the temple of God. We are the ones who are going to make up and support the temple when the new kingdom comes. Basically, the new kingdom is made up of the believers. But then there's something that's mentioned that's also interesting, that in this temple, on this pillar, that the new name will be written on it. The name of God will be written on it. Now, I had no idea what this was, so I started doing some research. And the symbolism here is that oftentimes in these ancient temples, certain priests, certain people who had been in service for a certain amount of time, they were often, they had their names inscribed on a pillar. Think of this as kind of a monument, right? Or more accurately, a memorial. A way to kind of recognize the service, recognize the endurance, recognize the perseverance that this individual had and the work that they had done for that temple. So their name would kind of be inscribed on a pillar as a way for people to recognize who they were and what they had done. And this promise is given to the Christians at Philadelphia. That if you persevere, if you endure, if you continue to walk in the faith, the name is inscribed on a pillar. People will recognize your endurance, your perseverance. I've had to wrestle a lot with this concept that we find so many times in the book of Revelation. Especially in these letters. Right? Because it seems that these believers, there's this reward system that happens for believers, those who endure. Right? And so one of the things that I've always had to wrestle with is this idea of a reward system. Right? Because it's faith. Right? We don't follow God because of what He does for us. We follow God because of what He's already done, out of a devotion. Right? So Jesus came, He died on the cross, and in respect of that, we follow Him. But here it seems pretty clear throughout these letters that those who follow Him also have a reward. So is our faith based on this reward system? Should we have faith? Should we follow the Lord so that we can get these rewards? Something that I've had to wrestle with. Because I've always just thought that these rewards were not a big deal. Right? That my faith is not based on what God's going to do in the next life, but based on what He did in this life. I often saw it as a sort of selfishness that we would kind of follow the Lord and follow Christ in order to get some of these things. And I still have to wrestle with that. Ultimately, this is not meant to be a way of driving people towards Christianity. Right? This is, I'm not sure about all of your parenting styles, but I know that some people, as parents, they have this this way of doing things, which, for the record, was oftentimes the way I was as a kid, right? So you work hard, you get good grades as a kid, and if you do, I will get you some ice cream. That was kind of the way that things worked when I was younger. You know, if I did well in school, I was given ice cream, or I got to go do this fun event. Different kinds of reward systems, and that's not inherently bad, but sometimes it makes you think, well, am I doing this for the right thing? Right? Like, you should get good grades because that's the right thing to do, not because you're going to get ice cream afterwards. But there's nothing wrong with being rewarded for the hard work that you put in. And that is the point of Jesus' reward system. It's not a way of bribing people to Christianity. It's a way of giving a reward to those servants who are faithful with the little. We see this throughout multiple of Jesus' parables, that for those who are faithful with the little, much will be given. Now, you don't be faithful so that you can get a lot. It's just that if you choose not to be faithful with what you're given, then you don't get the lot. And so the same rings true for us today when it comes to the afterlife. When it comes to the coming kingdom, Jesus is saying, look, if you persevere, if you endure, if you follow the faith, and you go through this persecution, and you go through this hatred, and you don't quit, I have a reward for you. And that is a very encouraging message given to us today. I think if any of us turn on the news, we very quickly see that this world is kind of going crazy. There's wars in the Middle East. There's persecution of Christians happening all around the world. We're given a promise that if we endure, rewards come. Now, that's not to say that we follow Jesus so that we can just get a bunch of stuff. It's just that the perseverance is worth it in the end. It's similar to somebody who runs a race and is given a trophy at the end. They don't run the race so that they can get a trophy. They are given it as a reward for running that race. And that's what this is. As we go through life, as we deal with this persecution, it's compared to the running of a race. That we run it faithfully, and that we receive the reward in the end. So my encouragement to you today is that as we see some of the stuff going on in the world, that we continue to run. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day that you've given us. God, I thank you that your Son came to die on the cross so that we can be reunited with you. God, I pray that we would not look at these rewards as incentive to persevere. But God, that we would follow you and persevere because of what you've already done for us. God, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your grace. And we thank you for the gifts that you give us, even though we don't deserve them. God, we thank you and we love you. It's in your son's name that we pray. Amen.